Alright, BobalosRex here. And we got a lore rant. And for the weeks when we get one of the new database quests, or whatever they're called, data collection quests, I like to do it based on that. And I like to start it with it playing. So let's take a look.
At the Titan's command, we Keepers began the acclamation. Each installation, all linked to the manifold, produced vast numbers of Titan-forged workers. We fired the great forges to fuel the acclamation and empower the manifold to heal the ravaged world.
The Forge of Origination.
Construction of the Coreway, a direct channel to the heart of Azeroth that would allow the Titans to study the world's soul without harming it. However, as we delved deeper, we encountered certain obstacles, colossal crystals, which we came to realize were calcified chunks of the world's soul's essence. They are of great power, and I wonder how many yet remain undiscovered beneath the earth, all over the world. By word of the great Khaz'goroth, the Titan's research has revealed that Azeroth's world soul is indeed the Prime. Our purpose may yet be fulfilled.
Enormous, powerful chunks of world soul essence. Do you think Beladar and Halifal could be one of them?
Potentially. But it was never within the scope of our edicts to study the crystal.
He mentions the Titan Forge making the Coreway. Did you know it was built to study the world soul?
We were created for the great purpose of serving the Titans, and thus we built it. Its purpose was irrelevant to us. We fulfilled our edicts dependably, and we have strived to do so throughout the millennia, despite Kaz Algar facing many setbacks.
Setbacks? What do you mean?
Long ago, the continents of the world split apart, and the machinery that powered our facility was damaged, cut off from the manifold. We were unable to repair the connection. We operated on auxiliary power for a time, but eventually it ran out, and we fell into disarray.
That must have been the Sundering. It's miraculous that any of this survived intact.
There you go. So, let's discuss. So, viewing that gave me a lot of questions, okay? A lot of questions that I want to go over in this video, and watching it again, every time I watch it, I'm like, what could this mean? But here, let's go over some of my questions, some of my theories, and, get into the rant. We're talking about the crystal, alright? So, apparently, Beladar is Crystalized Worldsoul essence. Alright? Now, it does seem to have a lot of light in it, but the light is weird, right? You can call upon the light through having faith and stuff. So, Beladar looks like it's the light. It's bright. But Order stuff has now been showing this golden glow. If you look at Azeroth, it's bright. And I'm not saying this doesn't have some similarities to light. But if we're going based off what we're told here, we could be getting, this could be a red herring. This could be related to Naru stuff still. You know, you've heard my theories on it. And now we're getting some possible in-game stuff, because remember, Arcadis said this a long time ago. The Earthen have been unable to verify. We do know, depending on who's in charge of information, information can change. More on that in a later question down here, because what was the acclamation? You know, if you look up acclamation and you really look at what went on here with the Titans. So the Titans got here. Beat up the old gods. Okay, that was their first focus. Yo, beat up these old gods. Okay? Then they built the manifold, because they gotta power their civ. They're like, okay, we're civing out on this planet now, because we know there's something going on with this planet. Built that we're building the manifolds, okay? They basically build a lot of the power sources. Here, let's pull up the map. Let's pull up the map. Let's pull up the plan. Okay? So they're building their power sources. They're like, blah, 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 blah. Remember, this is a whole continent now. At the time the Titan Forge were doing that. Like, boop, 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 boop. Got a 3 prisons. Okay? Got N'Zoth locked up. Got Yaxaron locked up. Got Cthulhu locked up. Big boy is yeeted. We dealt with that wound. So it was like wound, manifold. Okay? Maybe the manifold was linked to the wound. Were they using Azeroth's juices? Because we know the Night Elves built around the well. And the well was a Titan construct. Don't forget. So, boop, 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 boop. Manifold. We'll have to see, but okay, so we got boop, 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 manifold built, Old God's prison. We're like, maybe they were juicing the Old Gods for some power. Probably not, but we know we didn't leave them, the Titans didn't leave them alone. We know what they had going on in Zandalar. Okay? So, they built the manifold, now they're like acclamation mode. That's when they're like, building more, we're building everywhere now. We're building in on. Because we saw where the manifold was built, apparently last week, or the other week. Okay? Then they're building other places. And the other places are strapped to the manifold. Tyr's Hold was probably strapped to the manifold. And Khazlogar was depowered. Tyr Hold powered up enough. But remember, the O stones didn't work. Did the O stones not work because the manifold wasn't plugged in? Ooh. Oh. That's a new one I thought of. Because that apparently, you know how I talked about my syncing Azeroth? That would keep everything connected. Now that we know that stuff kind of did get disconnected, I still don't know how much evidence that we have that these continents are moving apart. I still think there's something to the fact that every area that we see that has, look, Titan stuff was built in here, apparently. Titan stuff built in here. Titan stuff built here. Titan stuff built here. Mechanome built stuff here. Titan built stuff here. Titan built stuff here. Titan built stuff here. Titan built stuff here. Huh! Everything had Titan built stuff that stayed up. I do think there is something to that. So, that is something to think about. And if you think about here, Deep Home was kind of like built here. It held up. Titan built. Did Kazan have some? Oh, we know Memoron did some experiment on the goblins. Like, yo, they're talking about a crystal. Maybe there's a crystal on the Lost Eye. Yo, they're talking about a crystal. Okay, I got sidetracked, but I want to talk about this sidetrack. in 10.0.5, the goblins are talking about a crystal on a foggy island. Maybe they went back to the Lost Isles and found a crystal. Because that's one of the questions here. How many more crystals are there? Because the Titans even asked this question. How many of these crystals are here? Now, if we look at Hollowfall, it really looks like the crystal landed here. I talked about how could this be a natural formation. I think I said it technically could be, but it doesn't seem to be from how it looks like it impacted. But I guess these could just form. These just form. And we do know Hollowfall kind of has that interesting history about a tree being ripped out. And that could have caused this massive interior. So, the crystal could be naturally forming. But how many more are there? There is that one that apparently... There was the one that showed up in Season of Discovery, which could be legit, could not be legit, which is kind of somewhere up over here. Alright. So there is that. But here's my question, right? If this crystal is supposed to reflect the world soul, right? Remember when I talked about was it void or was it light to begin with? Alright? I kind of want to head down there. But that's the thing. We talk about the crystal like, or at least I do. Everyone's thinking it just now started going void. Because that's what the Arathi told us started happening 7 years ago. But they've only been here 15 years. The dwarves have only been here since the Titans sent them out over here, since there was a rupture. Remember, there was seismic activity. They sent the earthen out over here. And then that's when they found it. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's logs saying that the earthen came here to investigate a seismic activity. But then we're getting conflicting reports of like, yo, Freya led some dwarves here, or the Freya Sworn basically carved up this area. Helped to carve out and get the coreway even in. And then they kind of said, alright, you Freya people, you're done here. It's kind of sus. But, yes. From what we know now, this seems to be Crystalized Worldsoul essence. Alright. And it can be bright. You know what? It is a crystal. It can be bright. It doesn't necessarily have to be light. It does look very light-based, but... And then people want to say, oh, it looks like Ashengun. Oh, I'm sorry. This does not look like Ashengun to me. I'm probably saying it wrong right now. It does not. It looks different. It looks different. You can't just be like, Big Crystal look like. It doesn't. It doesn't even look like. If you look at the finer features, this one is so much more different. That's why it's almost hard to believe it's naturally forming, because of how crisp this looks. I mean, look at the details. Okay? But Azeroth can form some dang crystals, okay? Let's get back to my crystals. What is the acclamation? I think the acclamation is when they were basically terraforming Azeroth. Titans were setting it how they wanted to do it, building their civ up, the little Titan Keepers, having a good time, building. The coreway is basically, I have here, the coreway is basically a Titan microscope. They're looking in like, oh, I can see the world soul through here. Look at that. And that's the thing. Are we going to be able to get all the way down, and when we get to the bottom, it's just like a lens and we can see the world soul? That's going to be crazy. And then they just said, maintain this. That's what I'm saying. They didn't even tell the Earthen what it was. So that really makes me think a Titan would have to look into the coreway, and that's how they would see how Azeroth's doing. That's what it looks like to me. I think these crystals were void during the Black Empire. That's what I was going to get to, okay? During the Black Empire, if these crystals were still already in the planet, naturally forming, Titans stumbled upon them, so they were here before the Titans started digging. Were they here when the old gods started digging? Okay? These could technically be... You could technically argue that these are the primordial shards of light, and then start looking into what is the Naru, what are crystals. Remember, I was talking about the elements. Crystal seems to be a really special element, in a way, or type of matter, is how I put it in that video. It's really important. Crystal. Crystals form Naru. World souls apparently form crystals. Is there a relation? Is there a Titan out there, a world soul, fully infused with a ton of these crystals that the Naru come from? The Naru homeworld. You know? So we could see a connection, because there is a question mark when they say crystallized world soul essence. So you could argue where the Titans know more about this and then just said, yo, Titan Keepers, avoid these things. This is what they are. We're good. So, I'd imagine if the Titan Keepers, or the Titan Forge, found these, right? While the Titans are still here, these had to be light. Okay? So, 100%, when the Titans found them, they were light. So that pushes back the light timer. Because if these were purple, I don't think the Titans would have been cool with them. But I do want to think about this thing. During the Black Empire, if these crystals existed, they would be purple. Could that be... explain the crystal in the Nerubian mosaic crystal that we see in the cinematic with Xalatath and the Spider with Nephris and Ansarek? Because I do not think that crystal in that mosaic... I don't think it's not this. Okay, I think this was purple at some point. Okay? Long time ago. So, if this had been formed, I think during the Black Empire, this would have been purple. When the Titans beat back the Black Empire, completely freaking annihilated it, chained them. This turned bright. Bright golden. The color of Azerite. Okay, which means this doesn't have to be light-based. Okay? I'm willing to accept that this is just World Soul Essence and remove all my connections to the Naru, but I do think there may be connections to a Naru or the Primal Light, or Light, but I'm willing to accept that it could just be Azerite. You know, maybe the top part, because we do kind of see it in the thing, maybe the top part here is just like a blue little thing. A little more bluish. You know, looking at it this angle, I can kind of see the blue... a blue vibe getting on, even though it's just kind of like the effect. But that's how we're gonna think about it now. So I do got some more questions. The Sundering disconnected Khazhogar from the Manifolds. Okay, that's what we're it's kind of hinted at. Okay, can we reconnect it? The Earthen said they couldn't at the time. They tried to rehook it up. Maybe we can rehook it up, get a different power source. But then that makes me wonder, how many other facilities have been disconnected, and how many have we gone to? Okay, let's think about facility in disrepair. Vale of Eternal Blossoms facility it seemed to be working. It seemed to be working more centralized. Uldir was breaking down, but actually, the seals were working. This one was working up until the quest line where that one breaks, and then the finale quest line, this one goes down. Okay, this one got... Wait, or was it this one? All I know is all these facilities were still working until BFA is when they started going out. The one may have gone out sooner than the other. But we did have these working, and then the Great Seal one went down, and then bada boom. So this could have been connected to the manifolds as well, because that one was kind of working. Did the Mechanomes get connected to the manifold? We know underneath the Tomb of Sargeras, there's Titan Tech. You know, that's probably some of the tubes. Uldaman was apparently part of the manifold, but we know Uldaman was kind of like busted down. But it was like a base, and it still kind of works. This has been the only area that's kind of not working, and tier holds. But you do have to wonder how many other disconnected facilities we got going on, and how many more stories we're going to see about disconnected facilities. But it also talks about forges, and we know a couple of the forges. So this is a forge, which is funny because it's next to another forge, the Soul Forges. Alright, so we got a couple of forges up here. And then we also got the Forge of Origination. So... Or I think there's a forge here too. They don't really label all the forges. I know there's forges in a couple of these different places that we've been to. Alright. I think Tierhold even had a forge. So we know those kind of like help push the either Titan Juice, what I talked about, or Azurite. Azurite. They may be, that's how they know what this is. If they've been using Azurite to power the stuff, they would know what this is. But then, like I said, they told the Earthen not to touch it. And then you see the Earthen. They built a little bit in here, and then they stopped. The Titans are like, yo, don't worry about that. Just maintain the Coreway, maintain Donegal, and shut the fuck up and do what you're told. That's what the Titans told their robots. Alright? They built their servant army and said, okay, we're building this microscope. We're building our little things that we want to do our little experiments in. I wonder... if, like, Sargeras, the Titans... Well, we kind of see them. They change their size. They'd shrink down and be like, what's up? How y'all doing? Come down looking at stuff. Okay? And then you gotta think. So, I have here, Titans form crystals. Narus are crystals. Naru's made by a loon? Crystal technology. There's a lot of stuff going on with crystals. Alright, there's a lot of stuff going on with crystals. But let's see. So, there's the theory that a loon made the Prime Naru. But she's a light thing. Narus are light. But Narus are mortal. So maybe she befriended someone in the light. Alright? We know Elune and Freya have a connect... Not Freya. Elune and A&R have a connection. Elune and the Winter Queen have a connection. And Elune and Anshe have a connection. And then, remember, the last video, I'm talking about these celestial bodies because we got this Hearthstone expansion talking about space. We see suns that are basically elementals. Is Anshe a big sun elemental? Or is he manifested as something else? What's going on with the sun? Is it like a light realm itself? A living life realm? Or could a light sun basically... I wonder if we would be able to go to Azeroth's sun and it would like take us to a realm of light. Okay, and then the moon has like a portal to a realm of life where Elune is. Because you got to think what's going on with these. Because we got 2 moons. Azeroth has 2 moons. And then it has a star. And then that's the weird thing. We see some weird stuff going on with WoW. Sometimes we see big planets with stars orbiting them. So now we have to wonder. I would have to... Maybe it's already been said, but do we know Azeroth orbits its star, or does its star orbit it? Because I'm pretty sure... Hold up. Here. Let me find this Hearthstone stuff real quick while I ask my next question. Because... I just know that some of these cards really make me think about, like, the physics of the frickin' world. We just have a card that's a giant hand taking over a frickin' planet. A squid hand. Yeah, the Death Knight card's crazy. Here, you know what? I can't find the turtle yet. Dude, there's a frickin' space turtle. So, let's just get back to this game. How many things are crystals? How many things use crystals? What's Azeroth? We don't know what's up with the sun. We don't know if there's connections between Titans and Naru. So, that is a question. And I already kind of asked this. How long ago did the crystal form? Like I said, if it's old... I think during the Black Empire it was purple. It was void. If Azeroth's soul was being corrupted, then yeah. And then... This was a question, I kind of asked it, but who was in charge of the acclamation? Because if it was hands-on Titan stuff, then we do have to look at it through the Titan, like, what are the Titans doing? But if it was more through the Keepers, like Odin, then I'm really sus of what was going on, dude. And we all know he's either frozen right now or very pissed off. Alright? Because he got no dragons. Alright, so we'll have to see about that. And what the hell is Tyr doing? We brought him back to do. What? I'm sorry, I have to ask that again. I already asked how many of the Titan facilities are cut off after the Sunding, and how many have we been to? Yep. So many good questions. So yeah, I basically went through all my questions. You know, if you got any thoughts on the current crystal stuff, how do you feel about this crystal being a World Soul essence? I was kind of surprised. I was really surprised when we got what this is. You know, I think I had a theory thinking it was Zalatath's ship, an ethereal ship, and it started out void. Now I've had to, you know, adjust. And I still think that this was purple at some point in the past, and explains the Nerubian crystal mural. Even though it looks different in the mural. Because that's art, that can look different. This looks vastly different than Ashagun. So I don't think it's a Naru ship. I never thought it was a Naru ship. I put that in what it could be video, though, because it could have been. But now we know it's a World Soul essence. And what does this mean? Are we going to see these popping up everywhere? I definitely think now that wherever the Arathi come from, they have a crystal near them. And then you gotta wonder, right? The Arathi went sailing. Was the crystal that ported them to this crystal the same one? What's up with the teleporting? Because they were sailing across the stormy sea and were teleported down here. Or, I mean, Because they're flying. Here's the thing. These ships were flying. Okay, it's not like they hit the sea and then fell under. They were straight teleported. So World Soul... Okay, so World Soul crystals can teleport us. That's why I definitely think this is going to teleport us to a zone at some point. You know? And I know... it can be light related, but I am fully ready for this not to be light related, because we see Order be bright. You know, there's clearly some light infusion into Azeroth, though. You know, people have mentioned this in the comments. We see this trifecta of forces that are, like, kind of letting slide on Azeroth. Order, life, and light. Okay? The Titans also, you know, death comes with the territory. It is what it is. They're like, fuck the Void and fuck the Legion. Okay? That's what they're about. Okay? That's what they're about. So, would Amanthul have been upset with the Light Crystal? I think so. So, if the Titans were a part of this, I think he would have been like, yo, this crystal too light. The core weight clearly isn't looking at this crystal. You know, they kind of found this crystal on the side. And we're like, yo, we see these crystals. And I think they've definitely found it somewhere else as well. See, enveloped in light. But they could just be talking about light as itself. Or the cosmic force, you know. It is what it is. But I'm not ready to approach the crystal yet. Not ready. But, that's pretty much it. This week's really just had me asking more questions, not really making more theories. But we now know there's more crystals all over the place. And they're gonna... And they clearly have powers. So Xalatath was after this one. Maybe what she's gonna go do is like, okay, this one was a bust. I'm gonna go hit up another one. Alright? Or maybe we're gonna see her in a patch come back at it. Because here's the thing, right? We do the storyline with yada yada yada. And right now the crystal's changing. But after the whole thing, I don't know if it's still changing constantly. It may be chilling out. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what goes on with these World Soul crystals. Dude, everyone here is gonna be... We're gonna be whipping out our Heart of Azeroth and be full crystal mummies. But yeah, that's enough ranting. This crystal just gets more and more mysterious. I swear, we got an answer, and I asked... now I have more questions. But I like when the lore's like that. When we get an interesting answer and we're like, yo, what? What does this mean? So yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching again. Bye-bye.